Iman Gadzhi oder wie der heißt, reich geworden ist. Bevor wir anfangen, vergiss nicht zu abonnieren und falls ihr neu seid natürlich und liked.
How much money did you actually make on the launch?
On that day, we did $4.4 million. I personally took home like 2.8.
Iman Gadzhi is a 22-year-old self-made millionaire who in the past few years has created an empire from scratch through social media by being more determined, passionate, and resilient than anyone else. However, is this really true? Or is he simply another fake guru who's trying to sell us the dream life? To answer this question, we have to go all the way back to the early days. Iman was born in a little town in Russia called Dagestansky Agni. He was born there to a single mother since his father was an abusive alcoholic who thankfully left long before he was born. They lived together in post-Soviet Union poverty, and his mother had to work 3 jobs to take care of young Iman. Until one day his mom came home and told him they were going to live in London with his stepfather. This changed everything. In the space of just 1 month, they went from not even having a toilet inside their house to living in one of the most exclusive areas in the city. Iman ended up going to an elite private school and living a life that was unimaginable a few months ago. Then disaster struck. Iman's mother separated with his stepdad, and they were plunged back into their old lives. So, at the age of 14, Iman had to take care of himself and his mother. This situation was the one that ignited Iman's desire to change the course of his life. And in order to do exactly that, he would have to find ways to make money. Like almost any other 15-year-old, he wanted to be a professional footballer. But the dream was short-lived since he realized he simply wasn't good enough. That's when social media came into play. Iman started buying and selling accounts on Instagram. Although he managed to make a decent amount of money, he lost it all by investing in one account that failed dramatically. Nevertheless, this didn't affect either his motivation or determination, and he set about trying to find new ways to make money. Young Iman had a real love for fitness and would spend days and nights studying personal training manuals, to then use all his knowledge to train others. Having made a couple £100 doing this, he invested in himself and bought a €400 Canon. This purchase enabled Iman to create his YouTube channel, and on the 26th of December 2015, Iman would upload his first YouTube video. Meanwhile, he was still playing semi-professional football, and knowing a bit about social media, had always told the owner of the club how poor their channels were and how he could do a better job. Eventually, the owner relented, and not only did he offer Iman the chance to manage the social media, but also offered him money in exchange for his services. Iman was astonished. He had absolutely no idea you could charge companies to manage their social media. He didn't have much of an idea about how much he could change, so after researching for a couple of hours, Iman settled on the grand sum of £75 a week, thus getting his first client. 2017 was really a turning point. However, it started off in a horrible way. It had been 7 months since he got his first client, and Iman hadn't managed to get another one yet. Most people would have given up at that point, but for him, it was simply not possible. Young Iman kept pressing and pressing until finally landing a meeting with a company called Athlete. At the end of the meeting, the founder, Sean, was asking him to send over a proposal, and now that he had more an idea about what he could charge, he sent over a quote for £1,900 a month. The next 2 weeks were even crazier. He went on to sign a second client for £1,500, and then another for £750. Within 14 days, Iman went from €300 per month to €4,150 per month with 3 clients. However, 3 weeks prior to signing Athlete, Iman had promised himself that if he could ever get enough clients on a monthly retainer to cover his overheads plus rent, then he would drop out of school. After signing Athlete and the 2 other clients all within 14 days, Iman had hit the magic number that he needed in order to drop out. But the decision wasn't easy at all. We have to remember the sacrifices his mother had to make for Iman to have a great education, and he couldn't help but wonder if he was throwing it all away. In the end, 3 weeks later, Iman was about to drop from high school and was showing up for his final day ever. Now that he had a lot more time, he focused his attention on building a real agency. Not long after dropping out, Iman went on to land more clients. Zebra Fuel and Furo Systems. At this point, he was beyond the six-figure threshold, and he even hired his first employee. Everything was going well, but again, disaster struck. His employee left after only 1 week, and in August, Iman lost 50% of his clients. One of the main reasons is that he felt the companies didn't take him seriously, since he had no way of proving a return on investments. Iman was offering social media management and reporting on likes and followers. Therefore, he spent the next 6 months selling Facebook ad services and failing every time. Until one day, Iman read an article about a travel agency's business model, and it became clear that this was the way to go. He realized he didn't actually have to deliver the Facebook ad services himself, as he could get someone else to deliver it in order to focus solely on sales and operations. Now, finally, his agency started growing at a breathtaking rate. At the same time, Iman was less than discreet with his newfound wealth. In fact, he had been documenting his life on Instagram and YouTube for quite some time. And then one day, he met up with a YouTube subscriber who asked if he could show him how he had built his agency. That very same student, after only 2 hours of Iman's coaching, went on to sign his first $1,500 per month client. This experience gave him the idea to teach others how to grow their own agencies. He then went on to design a simple, step-by-step formula that anyone could follow to build their agency. And so, on February 1st, 2018, after working with a test group of about 50 students, Iman Gadzhi released an online course called Six-Figure SMMA. In 2019, GrowYourAgency.com was born. It was the combination of the courses Iman had previously offered and the new home to Agency Incubator. The main goal of GrowYourAgency.com is to reform the education system by creating the best online programs the world has ever seen. But staying true to their ethics, Iman takes 10% of the annual profits from GrowYourAgency.com and puts it straight into building schools in underdeveloped countries to shape the school system the right way. We move on to 2020, which was a really tough year on the mental side. In March, Iman broke up with his girlfriend, which was already a big blow. But in April, the whole world was locked down. At that time, Iman was in his house in Cape Town, South Africa, with one of his best friends. Although it was hard to accept at the beginning, those months where they were locked up ended up being one of the best of their lives. Iman started to appreciate little things in life again, to the point where they would sit down and watch the sunset while they're having a cup of tea. But the worst was yet to come. Young Iman had never experienced anxiety and depression in recent years, until July 2020, when he experienced essentially a mental breakdown. He tried to meditate in order to feel better, but the depression and anxiety wouldn't go away. He even revealed that for 3 weeks, all he did was think about how he was going to kill himself. Thankfully, he managed to overcome the situation, and since then, his businesses have done nothing but grow exponentially. At the end of 2020, he inverted into crypto, and it turned out quite well, earning him up to $7 million before losing $3.5 million in 4 days. The agency hit its record month in April 2021. In the same year, Iman also had a big life event as he moved from London to Dubai. And last but not least, Iman launched his own clothing brand called Gadzhi. 2022 has been an eventful year up to this point. Iman wanted to take the next step. Between 2016 and 2021, Iman used his agency to go from 0 to 8 figures after tax. 2022 was the time to focus on the next phase of his career, which was going to 9 and multi-9 figures. In order to do exactly that, in January, Iman launched Agency Flow, which is a software company. Later this year, on the 6th anniversary of its first client, Iman Gadzhi would shut the agency down to focus solely on Agency Flow. So, having resumed his whole career, is Iman a legitimate self-made millionaire? Well, after watching hours and hours of content, some of which go back to 2015, and after analyzing each website, its history, and its customers, I can confirm that the story Iman is telling to the world is absolutely true. Iman is a one-of-a-kind human being who has proven that no excuse is valid, and that dreams do come true if, and only if, You work as hard as you can to achieve them.